We are in Nasdaq, the center of capitalism. Maybe you can tell us why decide to list in Nasdaq in New York City versus any other stock exchanges around the world?
Well, we did an IPO of Kaspi.kz in January of this year. At that time, actually, in 2020, we did an IPO on London Stock Exchange. So I think we're probably the only company which now you could compare for a certain period of time, difference between London Stock Exchange and Nasdaq. And from today's perspective, that was a successful decision which had two primarily goals for us. Number one, increase liquidity, because the market is much deeper, the US market, and from today's perspective, our volumes of trade are 20 times more than what we did on London Stock Exchange. So that's number one, and we set the goal, we did an IPO, and we pretty much achieved it. And then the second goal is, as a result of the liquidity, also have access to the wider pool of investors, and the IPO that we did in January was successful. It was the largest IPO in the US from October of 2000, and we have investors that are also investing in Meli and other tech companies, and it's just the access to the investor base, which is familiar with the business model, was really the very important criteria for us. And if you see how the stock performed, we did an IPO at around $92 per share, and now our price is around 120 plus minus, depending how market trades for a year. So has been a good performance since January.
Pretty good decision. So for entrepreneurs out there listening who are considering listing from outside the US, we're talking about entrepreneurs in Eastern Europe, in Africa, in Latin America, you would recommend coming to New York?
It depends on the profile of the business, but if you are a tech company, and if you are in the categories in the businesses like we are in payments and e-commerce and fintech, then the US market is definitely the place to do your placement. And you as a company also should be ready, because the requirements for the company to do an IPO is quite high. But if you successfully go through the process like Kaspi did, this also quality stamp on your business. So yes, I would recommend, if you are a tech company, the US is the place to do the IPO.